is a Bramble Jam podcast.
This week on Yo Gabble Gabble, if your plumber injures himself while fixing your mess, do you owe him money? Clean up on aisle Gino.
And if you get hit just trying to get a Frosty, will you get the money or will you be left out in the cold? Cristina tells us, real people,
Real cases,
fake justice.
This is
Yo Gabble Gabble! Oh!
Gabble, gabble,
Go,
gabble,
go, go,
gabble,
go, go,
gabble,
go, go,
gabble,
go, gavel. It's your birthday. Go, gavel. It's your birthday. Go, gavel.
Oh, it's Friday.
Tracy was like, I've had enough of this.
Had enough.
Fade it out.
Shut it down.
First of all, hi, Trace. Good to see you. Hi, Dan. Good to
Hey,
see
buddy.
you.
You
Hello.
all right?
To our listeners, it is good to be heard or seen by you on the YouTubes, whatever it is. However you're consuming this
The
particular
gavel.
show. It's great.
However you're
to
gobbling
see
up
you.
the gavel.
Oh,
You
that's
keep
exactly
doing it.
right. Gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble. Wow.
Wow.
It's October and the gavel is hot.
Hot.
It's hot. It's a hot gavel.
Yeah, it is.
We got a couple of goodies from what I
Doozies.
understand.
Yeah, I've not talked
I
to
know.
you.
I know mine's good.
We
You seem
usually
excited
sit
about
down
yours.
and we kind of just give this look. And today we both had that look.
We both have that look.
That's right.
So it's very exciting. It's very exciting. And you, this is the first time you've ever
My
done
first
personal
venturing
injury.
into Judge Gino's
And Judge
chambers.
Gino,
That's right.
He's great, isn't he?
He is. He really is.
He really is
He
great.
really is great.
I love him.
Maybe a new fave.
Maybe.
Up there with Ross.
Yes. Oh boy, they're
Boss
both
Ross.
great. I'd like to go to dinner with those two.
Oh man, the stories. Oh, the
Unbelievable.
stories would be unbelievable.
Hey, the verdict's in, and boy, people are loving Bramble Jam Plus.
You nailed it.
That is what the verdict is. Bramble Jam Plus, hot, hot, hot. And you can get that sucker for less than $5 a month by going to BrambleJamPlus.com. You're going to get this show and all of our other shows, including Bayside, which comes out today, Deck the Hallmark as the Christmas movies ramp up. All those shows completely ad-free in one central place. Bramble Jam Plus is the way to make that happen. And yeah, people loving it. People are loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Can't use that. I don't think we can use that.
I think it's frowned upon.
But people are loving Bramble Jam Plus, and that's what's important here.
Yeah, it's not our fault that they're loving it.
They're loving it.
You know, it's not our fault.
They're loving it.
Yes. We're not
Gavel, gav, gav, gav. They're loving it. Bramble Jam Plus.
I
they're
think
loving
it's more the jingle, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Did McDonald's copyright?
Our lawyer said it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, our lawyer's top notch. He said it's good.
Hey, we also would love for you to leave a review on the Apple Podcast.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Just as C. Peltiet, I don't know.
C.
Your
Peltiet's a
names.
dear friend.
Said an inexplicable delight. There is no earthly reason why I should like this show. The premise is insane. Listen to people summarize awful TV court shows, and yet it is an inexplicable delight. I'm with you 100%. C. Pelletit.
When we did the first one, what was that again?
C. Pelletit.
Okay. We did the first one. We were like, this is just weird, but it is inexplicably a delight.
It's a delight. It's something that I look forward to every week, and I hope you do as well.
Gabble, gabble.
We have a Judge Cristina Perez and a personal injury court with Judge Gino. I'll go first.
Oh, yeah. We need the coin toss backstage. You go first.
Yes. I would like to introduce you to my good friend now, for sure, Timothy Vettito.
Timothy Vettito. Timmy Vettito, baby.
He is suing for $3,000 for car damage, and he is suing Katrina Macklin.
Timothy and Katrina.
That's exactly right.
Car damage. How much?
$3,000.
Okay.
So Timothy starts out this case by saying, quote, "It's like Marvin Gaye always says,
What?
There's nothing like the real thing, and I'm fixing to tell you what really happened."
That's how he starts.
That's his opening line.
He's coming in hot.
I love Timothy right off the bat. He says, so here's the deal. I went to Wendy's to get a chicken sandwich and a Frosty. And I'm getting ready to pull in. I'm in the turning lane. I get in the turning lane to pull in, and a car backs out.
From Wendy's out into the road.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I hit it.
Those people are
And
the
I
worst.
hit it.
Yeah.
And we went to go make sure that, like, we both got out to make sure that each other's okay.
Yeah.
And Katrina over there was like, listen, this is my fault. My B. This is my B.
Katrina said that.
Katrina said this is my B.
Police report?
We'll get to the police report. And she was being real cool about it. And he says that Katrina was like, what are you doing here? What were you trying to do? And he's like, I just wanted a chicken sandwich and a Frosty.
That's
all
it.
I want.
That's all I'm here for.
So Katrina sends her daughter in to Wendy's to get Timothy
What?
a chicken sandwich and a Frosty.
She is being super cool about this.
Super cool. He even says, I thought this was too good to be true. I thought this was too good.
She says it's her fault, and I'm getting free
That's
Frosty?
exactly right. Now, Katrina has a little bit of a different point of view in this situation. Katrina says that she went to pull into the Wendy's as well, and she took the turn a little bit too sharp.
Gotcha.
And so she went to back up quickly to make it a little bit wider.
And he was turning in right behind her.
And he was turning in right behind her. She says that she looked back before doing it, didn't see anybody when she came out. There he was.
And
boom, boom.
I want to be clear. They both sound like people. This could all be solved with a police report.
We're going to get to the police report.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
So she gets out. She says that Timothy took all the blame.
Wow.
Says that Timothy
boy.
got out and said, listen, this is my fault. I didn't see you coming. I would have stopped if I saw you backing out. I didn't see you. I didn't see you at all. I would have stopped. And Timothy gets very excited here and says, no way. No way I took all the blame. No way.
Oh boy.
Timothy gets very excited.
Oh boy.
And Judge Cristina is like, listen, relax.
Calm down.
Like, just stop that. And Timothy says, well, it's like sometimes when you're eating a Frosty and your teeth get cold. You just gotta speak up.
Is this guy Gary Busey? What is he talking about?
He says sometimes you just gotta speak up.
That is what? Like when your teeth get cold.
Yeah. So Katrina says, I'm going to call the cops so that we can get a police report.
Yeah.
But my fiance owns an auto shop, and we'll take care of, we'll make sure everything's good.
Katrina says this.
Katrina says this.
Like she's.
No, Timothy's saying that this
Okay.
is. Well, actually, no. Katrina did say this.
Okay.
Katrina told him, hey, like, I'm going to call the police report so we have it on record, but like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. That type of thing. Which happened to me one time. In fact, happened in a Wendy's parking lot.
What?
One time, a guy backed into my car. This is almost the exact same situation, except it wasn't out in the road. It was.
Were you driving? Were you?
I was too? No. I was driving, and they backed up really quickly.
Okay.
In my car. And I got out, and I was like, "Hey, wait a minute, like, what's going on?" And they were like, "Oh, sorry about it. I got an auto shop.
No.
Here's my number. We'll keep it on the, like, no need to get the cops involved." I was like, no, yeah, of course. Like, I was kind of in a hurry. You got to wait for the cop. It's a whole rigmarole. And yeah, they, that number never got.
You got had.
Yeah. Well, what can you do?
At least you weren't scammed online or anything.
No, thank God. So the cops show up. Timothy's eating his Wendy's, drinking his Frosty as the cops are talking to him.
Did she admit that she sent her kid in to buy him a Frosty? Okay. All right.
Yeah. That's all on the up and up.
Man.
And so Timothy says the cops came to the conclusion that it was Katrina's fault. And Judge Cristina says, well, how do you figure that? How do you figure that? And he says, well, I just used what God gave me, some common sense.
Oh my gosh. I don't think he knows what that means.
The police report does say that Katrina's vehicle struck his.
Okay.
That's what the police report says.
And they put her at fault.
It never says faults.
Okay.
Just the language used seems to imply faults, but it never actually.
But both cars are moving in this case.
Both cars are moving, but it says Katrina's vehicle struck his. At one point, he's reading the police report, and he says victim one, And Cristina is like, you mean vehicle one? And he's like, well, yeah, but I'm a victim here.
Oh my gosh.
I love Timothy so much.
We've called Katrina Cristina those two names like you've just.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're dancing.
That's
there.
my fault.
Yeah,
just know that usually I mean Katrina.
It's Katrina.
I know it's Judge. It is Judge Cristina. Katrina.
Yeah, Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Yes, Barcelona.
Barcelona.
At one point, also Katrina seems to imply, like when they talk about him eating the food while the cops were there. Katrina's like, yeah, it's hard when you have the munchies. That
okay.
you know,
yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, it does. and Timothy's just like, I don't know anything about that. Yeah. So he then calls his, they go their own separate ways, get the police report, blah, blah, blah. He goes in to call his insurance company, which I was shocked he had insurance.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
And his insurance company says you only have liability.
Yeah. There's just, limited liability.
Limited liability.
Just,
you have the very base.
Yeah.
So because of that, and because she didn't have insurance, we are not going to cover this. And Judge Christina's like, did you not have insurance? And she's like, at the time, I did not have insurance.
Oh, my gosh. But her fiance runs a body shop.
Yeah.
So we should still be good.
We should still be good, you'd think. So Timothy then says, I got an estimate for the car repair. It's basically the front. We see it. It's the front left is kind of concaved in, if you will.
Concaved.
Not
concaved.
Concave. No, concaved. Concaved.
Yeah.
And it was going to.
One of those Thomas Concave.
He's overrated.
Yeah.
Was going to have to get the whole frame basically replaced.
Ooh.
And it was going to cost $4,000, which is more than what his car is worth. He bought his car for $3,500.
So they totaled it out at $3,000.
Yes.
That's how we get the $3,000.
Yes.
Wow.
And so Timothy is trying to get a hold of Cristina because of the body shop situation. And he can't get a hold of her. Calls her out. Basically, I think she gave him her work number.
Got it.
Calls work, can't get a hold of her. Gives the police the address on her driver's license that he has a copy of, I guess, or wrote down the information.
Okay.
They go there, say that's not her address. They then put a warrant out for her to try to find her.
Boy.
So all this is going on, and she finds out, like, oh my gosh, there's a warrant out. Like, because she goes, they basically put the warrant on her door.
Good gracious.
She lived there. She said, I went out, I saw the warrant on my door. There's a warrant. Timothy got a warrant out for me.
This is bonkers.
This is bonkers new. And so he still can't get a hold of her. Timothy is doing everything that he can to get a hold of this woman. He sends all the information that he has to the Department of Safety. And at that point, it's in their hands. They're trying to get a hold of her, all that good stuff, trying to get her to change her address, figure out where she lives, all that good stuff. And Katrina's like, listen, I'm not that hard to get a hold of. Cristina, did you get a hold of me? Did you get a hold of me, Cristina?
Yeah.
I'm here. So Timothy is like, listen, I need to get this car fixed, or I need to get a new car. I work at nights, and I'm not going to lie, Your Honor. I still drive my car, even though the headlight, I still got to drive.
Yeah.
I got to be honest here. Still out here driving my bad car. It's very unsafe, and that is the end.
So this
it's time
is
for the verdict.
It's weird, I think, because the people involved are just off type. But I feel like if the police report says that she struck him and she doesn't have insurance, that he's going to get the money, and I think he's going to get every dime of the money, regardless of how weird, wacky, new he is. I think judgment for the plaintiff, $3,000. Gavel, gavel.
You're close, Dan.
What?
You're close. Judge Cristina says you have a few things working against you, Katrina. One, in Tennessee, it's the law to have insurance. You didn't have insurance, so that's strike one. Strike two, for some reason, they're trying to revoke your license, or there's some sort of warrant out for you. That's not good either.
No.
Strike two. Strike three, it does seem as if you were trying to avoid him.
Yes.
That's not good either. Strike three.
Why didn't you get all the money?
Based on the evidence, you were at fault. What we did is we looked at the Kelley Blue Book for your make and model in good condition, and it was worth $2,200. That's what you're getting in favor of the plaintiff.
It would have been awesome if she had done it less a chicken sandwich and a Frosty.
It would have been great.
3,000 minus the 338.
The craziest thing about this is Timothy, for all, he's out there. He's weird. He's crazy. And Katrina seems sane. She seems like somebody who...
It was her fault.
She let her insurance go away. She wasn't really aware of it, I guess.
Boy.
She's getting Frosties. She says she wasn't trying to avoid anybody. She's not sure what was going on. Very confusing mess. But yes, she was at fault. And that goes to show you, everybody, make sure your insurance is updated.
Keep your insurance up to
and
date.
take it from Bran. Always get the police report.
Always get the police report. Bran would tell you that for sure. Dude, I got a doozy for you coming up.
But here's this. Can I tell you why I didn't want the cops called?
Sure.
A couple months prior, I was back. I was in the fresh market over yonder. I was backing out. I was in my Prius at the time. It was quiet. And I was backing out. I looked, and this car was just sitting there, but he was up pretty close to the cars. So I back up. I barely tapped the guy. No marks whatsoever on either car.
Okay.
And he was emphatic about having the cops called.
It's because you always call the cops.
He was emphatic about it.
He's not wrong.
I know he's not wrong, but there was no mark, and I was just like, whatever, man. I'm always going to be like, whatever. Like, big whoop. Especially if there's no marks. That's just the way that I am.
No, if there's no marks on either car, I will gauge the other guy and kind of. But if there's any sort of if it's, especially if it's not my fault, I am always going to call the police.
So then when I went to sell that car, even though it was in perfect condition, the person did a background check and said, "Hey, there's a police thing on here. What happened?" So it was like, tap.
No.
It's just a whole rigmarole is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
The cops are a rigmarole sometimes.
The cops are a rigmarole sometimes.
That, I believe, is the motto right now.
Yes.
Of the police. Sometimes things are a rigmarole.
Sometimes it's a rigmarole.
Sometimes it's a rigmarole. Right. Mm-hmm. We're going to go take a quick break.
Let's do it.
We're going to come back to personal injury court. Rumor has it it's a doozy.
Rumor has it.
We'll be right back here on the Gavel.
Oh, boy. It's time to go visit Judge Gino. Personal injury court.
It's a little tap.
Little tap. It's a baby tap. There it is. All right. Let me introduce you to Barry Raymond.
Barry Raymond.
You were in between. Just in between bits there. Barry Raymond is a plumber by trade. Now, he looks like Mario's kind of let himself go a little bit. He's got a full beard. He looks like Mario and Pavarotti kind of had a baby. He's got a beard, long hair. He is in the courtroom. He has one of these shoulder braces and one of these wedges in between his arms, so his arm's out like this constantly. It's a sling around as well. He has a boot on his right leg. His whole right side looks like it's seen better days. He is suing Mark Robinson for $250,000 big ones. $100,000 in past medical, $50,000 in lost wages, $100,000 in pain and suffering. Let's get into the legal sauce. So Barry says he's a licensed plumber for 20 years. He's been working for Mark and Mark's apartment complex for 7 years. Wow. He got a frantic call from Mark. Issue needs to be fixed ASAP. I need you over here immediately. He said, Your Honor, I got in the car, I got in my truck, and I took off and got there. I parked on the road, and at this point, Judge Gino stops, and he goes to Mark immediately. He says, "Hey, what was going on at your apartment place?" He goes, "There was a sewage line that was backed up, built up, and it was going everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
Your Honor, it was a catastrophe. It was a mess. I needed immediate plumbing help." And he says, "Well, tell me about Barry." He goes, "Barry's worked for me for 7 or 8 years. He's a great guy. Lately, his work hasn't been as great. He complains about his knees a lot. He's not nearly as quick getting out to my calls, but we've had a good relationship by and large." Gino says, "How many units in the building?" He says, 35 units in the building. I've owned it for 12 years. No major issues at all. So Barry gets back to Barry. He gets there. He says he parks in front of the building on the street. And he goes around back, he gets his plumbing bag, and as he does that, he looks straight ahead, and he sees Mark waving frantically, like, get over here, we got to get this thing fixed. It's a matter, it's just really, the longer you wait, I got to go. And he says, okay. So I started moving as quickly as I could in a straight line towards Mark when I literally stepped into a drainage hole that's about this big. He has a picture of that hole. I stepped into the hole, and immediately my right side just fell apart. Like, I started hurting. My leg was hurting. My shoulder was hurting. I was on the ground writhing in pain. It was not good. Gino says, oh, I see you brought a picture with you. He says, yeah, I brought a picture. He goes, we got it up on the screen. Can you describe the picture? The picture is basically a standard, little bit smaller than a foot-sized drain hole with grass around it. And this guy goes, well, Your Honor, you see, and as he turns, he winces like he's never turned in his life. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. And Mark, for most of this case, Mark is pretty much like that SNL skit where John Lovitz plays Michael Dukakis to George W. Bush and just keeps like, I can't believe I'm losing to this guy. Like the whole case, he's just like, can you believe that this is happening? And this guy's like, oh, my arm, I'm sorry. And so he basically just
really
describes,
it up.
Yeah, he just describes what is a drainage hole. It's just there. It's normal. There's nothing crazy about it. So he breaks his ankle going into the hole. He has a picture of his ankle. It looks really gnarly. When he went down, he separated his shoulder and tore his rotator cuff all on his right side. So Gino goes, Mark, you see this happening. You were concerned. And he goes, yeah, I was concerned. I have this plumbing issue and I'm concerned that he fell, but also, Your Honor, this is just pure negligence. And Gino says, how is it pure negligence? He goes, well, I brought a picture with me. There's a sign on the lawn in his vision sight that says, keep off the grass. There's a sign. It says, keep off the grass in big letters. He should have taken the sidewalk. The sidewalk is 2 feet away from his truck. I also have a diagram for that. Gino says, hold on, we'll get to that later. He says, there's a big sign. It says, keep off the grass. He didn't keep off the grass. That's why he's injured. I put the sign there myself. I know it was there because I put it there myself. Barry's over there like, no, I didn't see a sign. And he goes, is there a chance there was a sign there and you didn't see it? Yeah, of course there was. He's waving. I didn't see a sign, but it's an emergency. I'm focused on Mark and his emergency. Right. I didn't see the sign. So Mark has a diagram, and the diagram basically shows that it's got one of these like half circle driveways, sidewalk things. Okay. So the road's here. It's a one-way road. There's a half circle. Mark's standing here. There's grass here. He parks his truck, and instead of going up the sidewalk, which would have maybe cost him an extra 10 seconds, maybe, he just walks straight through the grass. That dives in the hole. Mark's like, look, this is pretty clear. He easily could have walked up the sidewalk. There's a sign right there. Here's where the sign is. I got pictures, all this great stuff. This is pretty straightforward. I wasn't telling Barry to hurry up as quick as you can. I was telling him to go around to the sidewalk. That's what I was doing. I wasn't saying, get over here quick. I was saying, go around to the sidewalk. Barry says, Your Honor, I've worked with this guy 7 years. He was not telling me to go around to the sidewalk. He was saying, hurry up. I need you here as quick as possible. So Gino asked Barry to go up to the podium to explain his version of the story based upon the diagram. And Barry gives a full performance once again, getting to the podium. It's like a full limp. It's wincing. It's grimacing just from moving every single second. Mark is over there, just can't believe it. He says, look, I treated this like an emergency. There should have been a sign right by the hole. There wasn't a sign right by the hole. The sign is in the yard, but it's not right by the hole. The hole is an injury waiting to happen. And Gino goes, Mark, can you see that Barry's heart is at least in the right place here? He was trying to hurry for you. Can you see that his heart was in the right place? And Mark says, sure, but
Gino's all about the remorse.
He is. He really is. Mark's like, sure, but he still should have known not to put his foot in the hole. And also, Your Honor, he's never moved fast a day in his life. He never has moved fast. And he's been complaining about his bad knees for 2 years. I think this is an excuse to fix the knees that are bothering. And it's at this point, and I want to make sure you're listening, it is at this point that Barry drops his pants.
For what purpose?
He sidesteps out from behind his podium, no grimace or at all, and just drops trowel, middle of the courtroom.
For what
drops
purpose?
his pants. He's got giant boxer shorts on, massive boxer shorts on. The whole crowd goes nuts. Gino's like, whoa, what are we doing here? Barry shows him that he has 2 knee braces on. And he wants to show Gino these 2 knee braces, not to show that his knees are really bad, but to specifically say that they're not medical. These aren't medically prescribed knee braces. These help me do my plumbing. I'm on my knees all the time. I don't know why he's wearing them in the courtroom, because he's not plumbing right now. I don't know why he would need them if they're not medical. But
Also, there had to be a better way to show up.
Then dropping trowel middle of the courtroom. But that's what he does. So Gino says that was a little bit more than I wanted to see. You've given a whole new meaning to the term plumber's crack, which I don't get the joke.
All right,
because
Gino.
yeah. But then Gino,
the crowd loves it.
Barry
though, for
is
sure.
awkwardly trying to pull his pants up. He can't do it. So Gino instructs the bailiff to go and help him pull his pants up.
No, that's not in his job
And he
description.
says, take one for the team. He says, take one for the team. So Gino says, hey, Barry, tell me about pain and suffering. And he says, this has affected my whole life, Your Honor. I cannot plumb anymore. But more importantly, I'm the captain of my bowling team, and we were going to nationals.
Yep, absolutely.
We were going to nationals. I can't, at this point, Mark is just completely, he's just like hands in the air, like bowling with this guy. I can't bowl. Our team can't go to nationals. Taking a shower takes 2 hours. I've been working for Mark, and I've been loyal, and I feel like this is just adding insult to injury. My life has been ruined. And then Mark says, you ready for a bombshell?
Yeah.
Because a bombshell's coming.
Okay.
Barry, you installed that drain in the first place.
Whoa!
And the crowd goes nuts. Oh, whoa. And Gino is like, wait a minute. Barry, did you install that drain? And Barry says, I did. But he has a bag with him. And he pulls the bag out. And he says, Your Honor, I did install that drain. But when I install that drain, and he pulls out a green cap, he goes, I put this cover on the drain. And then he pulls a red flag out. And he says, I put this red flag in the ground beside the drain. I had the cover on it.
I was going to ask about
the
this.
flag up. That's how I installed it. That's what it was when I left. Gino goes back to Mark. Mark says, Your Honor, my crew that was mowing the grass, which was Barry's recommendation, the day before this happened, ran over it with the lawnmower and ruined the cap and the flag. I did not have another one there. Until I could get another one, I put the sign in the yard so no one would go on the grass.
He put the sign up a day prior.
That's right. Because the cap and the flag was ruined. I knew the cap and the flag was ruined. I took the sign out. I put the sign in the yard. Even though the cap wasn't there, this is the man that installed the drain. He knew where it was when he was walking through the grass. And there was a sign telling him not to walk through the grass. I can't believe we're still having this conversation. Judge Gino is ready to rule.
This is a tough
This is
one.
bonkers.
So one thing I know about Judge Gino is he's going to do the percentage thing, like the percentage of fault here. And you have to be at least 51% at fault. The defendant has to be 51% at fault at least in order for the plaintiff to get money.
Yeah.
We learned that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man.
It's a tough one.
I lean towards Barry not getting any money here. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get any money here. I think there's too much against him getting the money, including him installing it. But even if he didn't install it, I don't know if it's like drain. I don't know. I just don't think it's necessarily. Was it Mark?
Mark.
I don't think it's necessarily Mark's fault. Even if there's a drain inside the middle of a grassy area, if somebody walks and falls on the drain, I don't know if that's necessarily. I don't know. I lean towards him not getting any money, even though I appreciate his commitment to the theater.
So you and I would be in total agreement on this, but Judge Gino does not agree with us. I love everything about Judge Gino. I disagree wholeheartedly with his ruling.
Okay.
Judge Gino looks at Mark and he says, you're arguing common sense. You're arguing that Barry should have the common sense that he put the drain in. He should know better. But the law is more technical than just common sense. If you own a property, you have the responsibility to keep that property safe. If the safety cap and the flag are not present, it's your job to replace it or to communicate that specifically to visitors to your property. Barry gets every dime. He gets 100,000 medical bills, 50,000 lost wages, 100,000 pain and suffering. He gets every dime of the money. And I can't help but believe it's just because Mark he didn't look the part. He looked like somebody that was over it. And I feel like that played into it because Barry didn't deserve it in my opinion.
I think Mark's biggest downfall here is that he did a sign what appears to be further away, like a
it wasn't
cap,
right in front of
the
it.
cap and the flag are specific to that drainage.
Yeah.
So it's covering the drainage. The flag is there to alert you, hey, there's something right here. A sign further away from the drainage, then you can miss that. So I do understand that. I just wasn't necessarily.
I still just think, good gracious, like this guy, I couldn't believe. I would have probably given him like maybe his medical, maybe. But
I understand what Gino's saying here.
you're just such a Gino apologist.
I am
a Gino apologist.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference between a sign at the
But
road.
if you're running the apartment and it happens, and it's let's say it's the end of the day, you don't have another cap and flag. You and I are probably putting that sign right in front of the drainage
or
thing.
getting cones or something to go around it.
But he's just like, all right, I got the sign out, I got to get it fixed, and then he's going to deal with it tomorrow, and then this other thing comes up. It's brutal. Man,
it is brutal.
Hard
we
today.
did gavel hard. Man, that's a doozy. That's a doozy. All right. Hey, let's come back next week, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's do it again.
We'll do it again next week. We'll have a lot of fun in the process. Until then, I hope either A, you don't hit somebody in a parking lot, or B, fall into a drainage hole. Hope we see you next week. And until then, if it's not a time for the gavel, all rise.
Yo Gabble Gabble's a Bramble Jam podcast recorded live in Greenville, South Carolina at the Bramble Jam Podcast Network Studios. It's produced by Brandon Gray. For more information, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com/gabble.